With the recent release of the Sega Genesis Mini 2, retro gamers got more of their favorite Genesis, 32X, and even Sega CD games back into their homes, without the added sticker shock that comes with the original games and cases. So far, Sega has released 2 Mini Genesis consoles with over 90 games combined on the two. While many Sega fans are excited about these mini consoles, it also leaves a lot of us wondering, what's next? While many fans have discussed a Sega Dreamcast Mini, there's also been much talk about its older brother, the Sega Saturn, which has also been one of the least accessible systems to play, due to its expensive hardware and games, and also the fact that it's one of the hardest systems to emulate. The Sega Saturn had a very underwhelming library in the West. However, its Japanese library of RPGs and arcade ports could rival some of PlayStation's top titles. These included many of its shoot-'em-up games. So today, let's discuss part 1 of the shoot-'em-up games I want to see on the Sega Saturn Mini. Skullfang is a 1996 vertical scrolling shooter developed and published in the arcades by Data East. Skullfang is the third and final entry in a loose trilogy of games beginning with 1989's Vapor Trail. It was released for the Sega Saturn in 1997. This fast action shoot 'em up plays just like the arcade, offering 4 different pilots and 3 different battleships. Skullfang offers a mix of 2D sprites and 3D environments and is one of the most visually appealing shoot 'em up games on the Saturn. Strikers 1945 is a vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up arcade game developed and published by Thikio in 1995. In 96, it was ported to the Sega Saturn in Japan. This game takes place in post-World War II in an alternate timeline. The player gets the option of choosing one of 6 different World War II style fighters that can utilize a charge shot or a bomb shot that clears the entire area. If you grew up playing 1942, you will feel right at home playing this one on the Sega Saturn. Terradiver is a vertical shoot-'em-up game by Raising, originally released as an arcade game for the STV platform in 1996. The game was ported to the Sega Saturn and PlayStation in 1997, with neither port being released outside of Japan. Terradiver offers some of the most beautiful and detailed 3D environments for its time. Players can utilize one of 3 different ships with different spread patterns. A more different gameplay mechanic players might enjoy is the lock-on missile system that is utilized by holding down the shoot button to form a cone. When released, anything within the cone will be targeted with homing missiles. Layer Section, also known as Ray Force in the arcade, this game became Layer Section later when it was ported to the Sega Saturn in 1995. Layer Section would be the first game to revolutionize the 2-attack layer system, where the player can shoot in 2 separate layers, same level as the player and the lower level beneath the player. Because of this, players had to utilize a little more strategy when taking on enemies and bosses. Dodonpachi was first released in the Japanese arcades by Atlus in 1997, using the Cave 68000 board. On September 1997, a conversion for the Sega Saturn was published by Atlus in Japan, featuring an exclusive Saturn mode containing a new stage and boss, as well as the ability to change its difficulty settings and enemy patterns. In addition of gameplay and mechanics, Dodonpachi offers 3 different ship types with different patterns. Each special attack includes a bomb that will clear the area, or a focused beam that deals massive amounts of damage. Being a bullet hell, this is one of the fastest and most enjoyable shoot 'em ups for me on the Sega Saturn. Well, there you have it. Part 1 of shoot 'em ups I want to see on the Sega Saturn Mini. Did any of your favorites make the list? Drop a comment below to let me know what some of your favorite shoot 'em ups on the Sega Saturn are. Surely we can never get them all, as you could make an entire mini dedicated to the great shoot 'em ups for the Sega Saturn. But stay tuned for part 2, maybe your favorites will be on the next one. Until next time, come on Sega, do you even Sega Saturn Mini, bro?